Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Jesus, and he's selling his Amazon FBA and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Jesus. How are you doing today?
Hello, Craig. I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Good to hear, and I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business in the home, kitchenware, and health and fitness niches, created in August 2015. The average monthly revenue for the business is $136,308, and it makes an average of $34,275 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 54797 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have the Amazon Seller Central account with 83 SKUs, a domain and all site content and files, 3 trademarks, supplier contracts and relationship, and employee contracts. And it's also important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. Okay, Jesus, now let's hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. I started probably when the internet was starting, like back in the 2000. I wanted to make money online, basically. And so I started trying several things. Like I sold ebooks and I did some paid advertising and whatever I could. I was like 15 years old. But then I always had like in the back of my mind, like, okay, it is easy to make money online. So it was in 2014 when I found this opportunity of selling products in Amazon through the FBA program. So that's when I started with this business actually. First, I didn't have a company, but then after, I think the next year I formed the company, but the account is actually a little bit older. It started in 2014.
Okay, and what attracted you to the Amazon FBA business model in particular?
The simplicity of it and of course the profits. I was doing, I think the last year prior to that, I was doing a lot of things. I was trying to sell ebooks. It was a lot of work. I think I made something like $7,000 in 3 months. And it was all right, but it was a lot of work just to get that money. Then I found a person that was doing like a lot of money. Like I don't remember exactly the amount, but he told me and I was like, really? Is that even possible? So, and I didn't understand like back then how it worked completely, but I bought a training course back then. And then that's how I started. I just started with my first product and I did a lot of mistakes, obviously, but then eventually some of the products took off and that's how everything started.
Yeah, so could you tell us a bit about the startup phase, what it was like to get this business running and profitable?
Yeah, well, the way I learned to do Amazon business, Amazon FBA, the very first thing was launch as many products as you can. That's what I learned back then. It was 2014, and it was like a different platform than it is today. But that's pretty much what I did. At some point, I had close to 100 SKUs, and the business was doing well, but it was getting very, very complicated, very complex to manage all those SKUs. So I started to remove everything that wasn't really very profitable or that was giving me more complexity or was taking more of my time. I started to remove all of that and focusing my efforts on the products that were more profitable and that had more future. So that's how over time it became what it is now. It's basically the best products that we've been selling for years. And yeah, pretty much that's the story of how it is right now.
And was that how you sort of landed in the home kitchenware and health and fitness niches?
Yeah, that's because I was all over the place. During those first years, I was selling pretty much in every category. But then I started to niche down to the things that were actually working. And then people started to recognize the brand, the products. So that was helpful just to be narrowing down. And it's also much simpler, much easier to do marketing efforts when you are in less niches. So right now, even though we're selling still in several niches, we are selling mainly in 2 or 3 niches. So I think those are our strong niches right now.
Right. Yeah. Interesting that you started to get that brand recognition as well through selling multiple products. In terms of the business structure, then, how does this business primarily make money?
Well, it's basically Amazon FBA. We buy the products on China. We have very, very strong relationships with sourcing agents. We've been building those relationships over several years. So right now we have terms with them. And one thing I like to do in business is to have everything as simple as possible. So I like to have pretty much everything in the same place or in few places as possible. So the sourcing agents, they also conduct quality inspections. They also find the best rates for shipping. So I don't really have to worry that much about all of that. It wasn't like that at the beginning. First, I had to learn and do all the things that most people do, like having your customs bond and working with different freight forwarders. But right now, what I found, it's just the simplest way and the most practical way to work is to work with a Chinese forwarder, because they will deliver the products door to door and they will offer you the best rates. And if you have a good relationship with them, the communication it's always good, and it's really straightforward process.
Yeah, that's interesting to find out you've got a solid supply chain set up, and yeah, that does help keep things simple and helps you keep the business more hands off. Yeah, so how come is it that you're selling the business right now then?
Well, the thing is, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and I think I need a change in my life. I want to change. Still, I'm not 100% sure that I will leave the Amazon space, because it's such a good business and it really requires little effort. So I have one small account that I plan to keep there and just try or test products over time. I mean, that's completely separate from the products that I have now. It's totally separate brand and everything. And it's not where I want to put my full effort. Right now, what I really want to do is to teach what I've been doing for all these years to the Spanish community here in Florida. So that's one of my main goals right now. That's why I think it's a good time to sell the business.
Yeah, it certainly seems like you would have a lot of knowledge to share. Is there anything you've learned from this business that you would apply to another business?
Well, yeah, definitely is to be focused on the things that are working, because I've been back and forth between strategies, between so many things, that are available in this industry, because every day there is something new. There is a new tactic. There is something that is like the shining object, right? So there was a time when I was chasing all of that, and that just spends your energy, spends your money, and you get very little results. So it's not to say that those things don't work, but what I've learned is that if you find that something has potential and is working, or it seems that it can work, you have to devote at least 6 solid months to try to test it, and to test it like completely until you can say like, okay, this really doesn't work. But usually that's not the case. If you put your energy and your attention in something, it will grow, it will work. So that applies for any business and for everything in life, I think.
Yeah, it certainly seems that it's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, that shiny object syndrome. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Is there anything you tried with this business that didn't work out for you?
Yeah, a lot of products, probably. One of the things I've tried lately was to test the market with random products because I saw that there were some random products doing well. So I studied the situation and I found the products. I saw the numbers were there and everything looked fine. And I tried with very few units, just a very little amount of units just to test the product. And at least for me, that's not working. And I know the reasons, and I can share that with you if you want. I think that's going to be helpful. I think the way to make it work right now in Amazon is having very good differentiated products. The perceived value of your products need to be high, and it's hard to do that if you're only testing 50 units or 100 units. It's very hard to do that because the manufacturer are not going to be willing to do like crazy changes or special changes to the product. They're going to give you very generic product. And also you won't have enough inventory to do like a real marketing effort to launch the product. So in the end, you will end up with a product without a launch campaign, without marketing, a product that is very generic. So most likely you won't sell it. Sometimes you can get lucky and Amazon will just like the listing or something and you will start selling it. But usually it's not the case. So right now, the way to make it work is to, after you have done your analysis and all your numbers and everything, you have to make sure your product stands out and that you have some kind of advantages. That can be a good cost. It can be a better presentation of the product, like so many things. Like even if you can get like a patent or something that makes your product unique, that's obviously the best and also the most expensive. But that's the way to go with the Amazon market as it is right now.
Yeah, and I can see you've practiced what you preach because you've got 3 trademarks associated with this business as well. So you had to build the defensibility against competitors. So where does the majority of the traffic come from then?
Well, as I said, I like to keep it simple. And basically, all traffic is coming from Amazon. Amazon itself, I'm using a tool to automate all the PPC campaigns, all the pay-per-click campaigns within Amazon. So that's really hands-free. That software uses AI to optimize the campaigns, and it really gives you really, really good results, much better than I had with employees. So I've been using that for a year and having great results with pay-per-click. So basically, the traffic I'm getting is from pay-per-click campaigns from Amazon and also, of course, organic traffic from Amazon.
Okay, and looking forward with the business, if you were to keep it on, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's a good opportunity in terms of traffic to drive traffic from other sources, because very recently Amazon just started to offer incentives, like financial incentives, if you bring traffic and that buys your product from other sources. You can say Facebook or any other social network or any other website. Amazon is going to pay you up to 10% of the sale price if you bring traffic from other places. So that changes things, because let's say you're paying 20% in your pay-per-click advertisement within Amazon. And let's say you're able to get the same customer in Facebook for 25%, but now you're getting 10% back. So you're getting cheaper cost of customers, and you're also getting a boost on organic ranking, which is great, which is the lifeline of the business in Amazon. So I think definitely there is a great opportunity in bringing traffic outside of Amazon. I just haven't had the time to do it, but I think that's the one thing I would do if I were to keep the business.
Yeah, that's some very interesting insights for a buyer to know. As for the day-to-day work on this business, can you describe the amount and type of work you do on this business for maintenance?
Yeah, it's almost ridiculous. Basically, my work is to look for opportunities. I browse Amazon on a daily basis and I'm just looking at products and I'm just seeing the competition of my own products and just seeing what other people are doing and just spending time on Amazon. I think that's my primary activity. And then, of course, if I see that something can be improved in my listings, or if I decide that we need to launch a new product, then of course there is a bunch of activities to do. But usually that's not the day-to-day activities. And I also have my brother working with me, and he takes care of all the logistics that are also very, very simple. As I was saying, we work with 3 sourcing agents. So we basically have only 3 points of contact in China, and most of the products are with 1 or 2 of them. So it's very straightforward, just to talk to them and make sure we make reorders on time. At this point, it's very predictable. The demand, it's very predictable. So we know how much to order, and it's growing. Amazon is growing organically year over year. So we know we need to order a little bit more. I mean, 10%, 15%, even 20% more than the previous year of the best products, because there is an organic growth within the platform. So it's very, very predictable. And those are the daily activities that he does. Basically, it's all related to logistics, some customer service. There is very minimal customer service. If somebody writes that they need a replacement or something, then we just fulfill the replacement order. He does that. We also have an eBay account with some sales. So he manually fulfills the order from eBay. But other than that, there is not really much to do, except from we're launching a new product. Then we have to do some keyword research. We have to take pictures, all of that. That's also crucial in this business. You have to have world-class images. If you really want to succeed, you really need to have good pictures. So that's one thing that we'll recommend to anybody getting into this business, is to have or to invest enough money to have a very good type of images.
Yeah, very true. And there's a couple of things you mentioned there that I'd like to ask you about. So it seems that the business has got some diversification of revenue. You mentioned an eBay store. I see that you make 12% of your earnings from the Mexican marketplace. Could you just tell us a little about those 2 areas and how they came about and what they're doing for the business?
Well, the eBay, it's very simple. We just opened an account like a few years ago. And at the beginning, we weren't selling almost anything there. And that's because when you open a new account, you don't have any feedback. And it's really hard to get those initial sales. But once we got the ball rolling, sales just kept coming, and they keep coming in now. And it's just like another stream of income. I mean, it's not much. I think it represents like 3% or 5%, something like that, of the total US sales. But it's a different channel, so that's always good. And the Mexican part of the business, well, that's because we are Mexican, and we were ready when the Mexican marketplace opened in 2017, I think it was. We were thriving on the US market, and basically in Mexico, nobody really knew how to sell on Amazon at that point. And we already had like a few years of experience back then. So the very first thing that I did was to source the best sellers from the US marketplace and list them in Mexico. And probably half of them took off. They became very good sellers. and some of them didn't. And that's because markets are very different. It's very different, the customer from the US and the customer from Mexico. So we've been learning about that, and now we know what kinds of products sell better in Mexico. So we've been adjusting our portfolio of products there. But yeah, basically that's how we started selling in Mexico. And I think right now we have a very good portfolio of products there that are constantly selling, and they have been selling for 2 or 3 years already.
Yeah, that's all really interesting stuff. So, what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who is not familiar with these niches and this type of business model?
Well, I don't think it really has to do a lot with the niches. It has more to do with selling on Amazon, understanding how Amazon works. Because in my opinion, it's pretty much the same in every niche, probably some small differences. But if you understand how to sell on Amazon, then you're going to be successful. And I would say that the very first thing is to have a value proposition, like the perceived value of your products higher than the competitors. That's pretty much everything. And that includes the quality of your product. You cannot have a product that is so-so in terms of quality, at least not anymore. It's like people are going to destroy it within a couple of months. So you really need to have quality control in place. You need to have, as I was saying, very good pictures. You also need to have some kind, it's not a need, but it's very good to have some kind of protection for your images, especially if you invested into a very professional set of images. You can actually copyright them, and that's going to protect you against other sellers copying your images. That's something we are in the process of doing now, at least for one of the main products. We have an outstanding picture, and we have a bunch of people copying our picture. I mean, for years, it's not something new. They've been doing that for years. So we decided that, okay, we can really copyright this image and we can get rid of all those competitors using the same image. At least they will need to change it to something else. And this is something delicate. It can go as far as people filing lawsuits against other companies that are copying images. So it's a good protection to have. But in terms of managing the business and doing well on Amazon, it's basically having very good products, good quality, the keyword research, just to be good enough to reach all those keywords that people are going to be searching for. And then the reviews will come organically. That's something that we don't really worry about. I see that a lot of people are worried, like, okay, how am I going to get the reviews? What if they are bad reviews? So it's not really about that. If the product is good, you're going to get good reviews organically. And it's something that happens now. It's easier than ever because Amazon created a new feature where you can request a review from your customers pretty much just by pushing a button. So that's now very easy. So yeah, all those things. And probably the other main thing is to make sure that you have always stock of your best-selling products. That's one thing that can really damage your business, is if you run out of stock for your best-selling products, because you lose ranking, or you can lose ranking. Sometimes you don't, but usually you do some ranking, and sometimes when you get back in stock, you need to do some kind of promotion or something to pick up again the sales. So if you're mindful of that and you have good inventory levels and your listings are good, then you're pretty much done. And the rest of the work, just to keep growing, is just to keep launching more and more good quality products.
Yeah, and it sounds like that you've mentioned one of these, but what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I'm not sure if it's a risk. I think it's just part of business in general. It's just being aware of competition. Always there are going to be people trying to take your place, right? Or to take your sales. So you just have to make sure that your product is good, that your product stands out, your pictures are better. And if they do anything illegal, then, well, you can report them with Amazon. And it's always better if you have any kind of protection like a trademark, a patent, or a copyright or something like that. That's obviously going to make it much, much easier to be protected against unfair competition. But to be honest, I don't really care that much about that. I focus on the things I can control, on the things I can do to improve the business. And yeah, sometimes it happens, but there is always a way to deal with that. Oh, and probably the other thing that is important to keep in mind, especially now, are the new inventory restrictions that Amazon is imposing pretty much on everybody. So there is a very easy workaround for that, and it's just having a third-party location. It's just a warehouse outside of Amazon. And we do have that. Like primarily we send our shipments to these locations. There is pretty much one that we use. And from there, we ship products to Amazon as we need them. So in case they restrict the inventory levels or whatever, we don't really care because we have the other warehouse there. And we can just drip feed all the products that we need as necessary. So yeah, just being aware of those things, maybe your cash flow as well, making sure that you have healthy cash flow to keep buying inventory when it's needed. But other than that, it's a very, very straightforward business. It doesn't require a lot of knowledge or a lot of effort or time. So I still think it's one of the best businesses of this age.
Well, as inventory restrictions, they've impacted a lot of businesses, so it's great to hear that you've put something in place to mitigate that. Excellent stuff. So we've covered a lot of great stuff today, but just to sort of wrap it up in a neat little package, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Oh, well, I think the main thing is they're buying security. They're buying a business that is very well established. We've been there for several years, and you can use tools to see the sales over time, and you can see that the main products are constantly selling, and we can predict demand very easily. So it's something that's going to keep working and something that doesn't require a lot of effort, of time. I mean, that's almost like a dream business. Of course, there's always things that can be out of your control. There is risk in everything, of course, but there is always a way to go around the risk. And I think this is a really good opportunity for pretty much everybody.
Excellent. Well, regarding the sale of the business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, of course. The products we are selling, we are not going to sell that anywhere else or in Amazon or any other place. As I was mentioning, I have another account, but it sells completely different products. Right now, it only sells, I think, one or two products in a completely different niche. We don't really plan to grow into more niches. It will be basically that. And as I was saying, I'm really planning to go into the teaching side of everything of this, not really selling that much.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Of course, as you've been mentioning that, I spoke to my brother and he's willing to keep working with the new buyer. The transition is as smooth as possible. So he will keep working, for free. I'm going to cover his salary. He's going to keep working for the rest of the year. And he has all the knowledge in the world to manage the business. He's been doing this for several years. And he knows the inventory levels that we have right now. He knows when to raise prices, when to, pretty much everything that needs to be done to maximize profits. He knows that, and he can also train another person if that's necessary, or even if the new buyer would like to keep working with my brother, I think he's open to that. Obviously, that would be something that they would need to talk, but at least for the rest of the year, he's gonna stay working on the business.
Excellent. Yeah, that's really great for a new buyer to have. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Well, as I was mentioning, I think it's something I'm not really interested into because there is a lot of history in this business. It's a very straightforward business. So really just waiting more time for me to get paid, it's something that I would rather not do. And the buyer can get all the safety they need by looking at the statistics. And so I think it's not really necessary to implement something like that.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
Maybe just a little summary of everything that I said. Is like, I really think selling on Amazon right now is a privilege. It's something that it's easy to do. It's very profitable. If you're just starting, maybe not as easy because there are some things that you need to implement in order to start having positive cash flow. But I think it's a very good strategy to buy a business that is already working and then learning the ropes and see why everything is working and just keep growing from there. It's something I would definitely do if that was my situation. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening to this. I invite them to check my listing.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Jesus. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 54797. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.